crossmember process has started. So a little time lapse there. We're getting going on this crossmember that's been way overdue. I've used a little CAD, cardboard aided drafting, and kind of got my vertical and my flat in there. So now all I got to do is do the sides. I'm glad it's under the engine. That's all I got to say. It's not bad, but I don't have all the fancy tooling to make it super nice and show car. It's not gonna be show car. There it is. Full transparency. It is not perfect, but with a nice quick coat of paint, you won't even see it. Engine will sit on top of it, you definitely won't see it. So it's pretty decent. I'm happy with it. Turned out quite a bit better than I expected, so I'm good. We're gonna spray it, and then all we gotta do is spray the engine, drop it in. Let's get this thing rolling. Let's start wiring, fuel, plumbing. Let's get it done. I want to drive this thing. All right, guys, you've seen two things since the crossmember. You saw these bolts get shortened. Had to basically cut off the excess because they're gonna be a little too long if I leave that for the engine mounts. And you just saw the stall torque converter go in. That video shut off, but there was 3 clicks, so there's 2 spline parts of your shaft and then the pump. Make sure your torque converter clicks all 3 times. That's in. Now is the fun part, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's pretty fun because this is absolute jewelry. But that stuff is gonna go on the back of here. Gonna get our adapter and our flex plate on there. And then this thing is getting stabbed in there, hopefully for the last time for quite a while. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's get this thing off the stand, get those put on, tightened up, slap it in there. Sounds good. Boom. There you have that. We're just going to use this. Basically, this has a spot for like a dowel pin. This does not have a dowel pin at all, so it's just gonna chill on there in whichever orientation you see fit. Fits nice and perfect over the crank. So we're set there. We're gonna Loctite our bolts, those in, and we're gonna torque them to, everything I've been seeing is like 63 foot-pounds. Some people do 70. I think the book calls for like 32 or 30 something, and then 90 degrees. And then also technically a couple of these go into an oil galley. Factory bolts come with like thread locker on them that's supposed to double as a oil barrier, like a Teflon tape type stuff. Everything I've seen with just Loctite, you'll be fine. If it does leak, it's like a very, very, very minute drip over several thousand miles. So that won't be a problem for us. We're just going to Loctite these, torque them down, and then move on to the next part. Going with the nice billet theme. These are, I don't know if you can see it at all there, but these are ARP bolts. So best of the best there. Good stuff. Some of you might be saying, man, that thing looks super huge. I mean, the factory flywheel was only about like this. Well, you gotta think. We gotta put that big adapter on there to go from the 2JZ bell housing to the Turbo 350. So, 2J block has dowel pins there. They're gonna line up to these dowels. Easier to do it with two hands, sorry about that. Oh, so that takes up that gap there. And then the trans will mount up there. Torque converter, boom. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this seated properly and then bolt this on. So same thing here, we're gonna go in with some Allen head bolts. These are also ARP. Gonna Loctite these, throw them in. Here we have it. This thing is ready to go in the Chevelle, hopefully for the final time in quite a while. Boom. That looks awesome, not gonna lie. Just like that, it is in there. Solid. Ain't moving. All of our mounts are in. 3 out of 4 ain't bad. We're not gonna get those ones in because they're under the pipe on both sides, but 3's fine. Everything is torqued and in. I got the torque converter bolts in. Could not use the factory GM ones because the thickness of the flex plate is way thicker than like a normal flex plate, so ended up using some bolts I had for that and Loctited those should be good. Yeah, it's in there. I mean, that's pretty dang good. I did check all the way around the pan with everything tight. There is one spot that has like that much. Everything else clears super good. And that spot is actually right down there on the backs, on the bottom, very, very bottom corner, kind of where the drain plug is. The drain plug is about 1.5 inches behind the cross member, but where the cross member is very, very close. Shouldn't have a problem because all this is solid mounted, so shouldn't move, but could have ground that a little more probably. It'll be fine. So I did verify it is in time. Check those dots. There's one there. You can see it matches up with the little hump right here. Same on this one. Matches up. So we are good there. And yeah, probably going to go ahead just because and put the exhaust manifold, turbo, and intake manifold on just loose because I want to see how it looks in the car with the engine bay painted and everything, and I think it's going to look really good. So let's do that right now. Would you just look at that?
Well, would you look at that?
Yeah, that is awesome. Nice painted engine bay, minus the wiper motor. It's fine. This got pretty close, not gonna lie. Worst case, we might have to trim the upper control arm a touch until we get new ones in the future. But man, this looks super cool. I mean, there's a lot of haters out there that don't like this 2JZ swap idea, and come on, that looks awesome. I know it's a 70 Chevelle. I know it should make big block noises or small block noises or V8 noises in general, but that looks so good. Fits in there wonderfully. Trans and everything is at the stock location. None of that moved. Factory cross member, factory mount, everything, factory drive shaft, all that's the same. So this is basically sitting in there as it would from factory, I suppose. Looks really good. So we are still issuing or having an issue with the fact that it is lighter. It's not nearly as bad as it was, but man, before, without an engine, this thing was like way kicked out there because of no weight, obviously. So we're gonna have to see when we get the intercooler, radiator, all the plumbing, wiring, fuel, everything done, when it's running, hood's on it, and it's on the ground, we're gonna have to see how this thing sits. Sitting pretty high right now, so back looks fine, but she's pretty high up there. And really, there's not much difference weight-wise between a fully dressed small block and this 2JZ with the turbo and everything else. I mean, it's fairly similar, maybe a little lighter, but shouldn't be that much. So we'll see. We get everything in here, get the hood on, get all the weight to it. We'll see where it sits, but right now that looks pretty awesome. We're gonna have to figure out our next step, probably lay some wiring in, see how that's gonna fit, and get some fueling figured out. And then basically, like I said, radiator, intercooler, fans, plumbing, all that stuff should go fairly quick. We are gonna relocate the battery from up here. There was a tray in here, it was all rusted out. I think we're gonna go ahead and get rid of that. We're gonna relocate it to the trunk, keep this all clean up here. We're gonna have to figure out power steering. I believe I have an alternator in the basket of 2JZ stuff. But we're gonna have to figure out power steering. That should be fairly simple, and we're gonna basically utilize it into the factory box with some custom hoses. That should be pretty easy. So yeah, it's getting there. This is a huge step. Final mounting, getting everything in there. That's awesome. Thank you guys for sticking around. As always, for watching this, for sharing it, and doing everything you guys do. So hopefully we will keep going on this thing super hard and get it ready to see all of you guys in April at Streetcar Takeover Kansas City. So thanks for watching. See you next time.